You know it really sucks? When you're legitimately parked and you get a parking citation. Now I'm parked in visitor parking, but they still record the license plates for visitor parking. Like, security is tight around here. I was lucky I was ignored the first 2 days. It's a 4-day dishwashing gig. So, yes, dishwashing. I know, it doesn't sound super exciting. Anyway, it just gave me a second to think about talking about what do I do as a job. All right, so I'm just going to open up the app section of my phone and talk about some of the apps I use as a van lifer. And the reason why let's get into temp agencies first. The reason why I like temp jobs is they give me control without me having to manage a business. Really, the only business I'm managing is myself and my time. Now, I do have a career that's focused in basically backstage theater. Like, I've been a production manager, I've been a stage manager, which is basically my main gig, and I've been a stagehand, and I've done some other miscellaneous jobs behind the scenes of theater. Mostly I've done a couple of little film things words here and there. I was a boom operator for a little educational short a long time ago in Maryland, when I was a little bit closer to people who were headed down the film path. Like, I am mostly getting my income from temp gig jobs when I'm not working production jobs. We're just going to call them production jobs, whether they're theater or concerts or whatever. And yes, I've worked concerts and film festivals, miscellaneous events at miscellaneous conventions at hotels, doing random stuff, everything from building stages to standing around and making sure people know where the sign-in sheet is. All of this is event work. It's really kind of funny when you break down sort of event work. It's all these little teeny silly things, like sometimes sitting at a table and making sure people know where to sign in, or sometimes it's unloading a truck or loading a truck. And sometimes it's fairly technical, like lighting or sound or things like that. And that's sort of where, ideally, by the end of 2019, I'd like all of my income to be coming from production work, event work, and that's it. So theater, events, etc. Backstage of a either live event, theater, etc., or even working my way back to the backstage of film. Hopefully, if you guys remember, I did an interview back while I was at RTR. I left, actually WRTR, I left for a while, and I did an intro video where I was all dressed up, and that was for a video interview for a job I hope I really get. It'll be a 4-month contract, and it would be really good for me financially if that came through. So I'm really hoping that one bears fruit. In the meantime, when I got back to Berkeley, I immediately had to jump into my job apps. And I think the gig economy really serves people who want to live in van life. Alright guys, so this is my job apps subsection of my phone. Sorry, there's Blue Crew, Wonolo, and Jabba at the top of the list. I like to think of although that is my temp agency line. So let's open Blue Crew, just so you see what that looks like. I'm not quite sure what cities Blue Crew is available in. I'll do some research before I post this video. But basically, as soon as you open the app, these are basically jobs I accepted and I've already worked. And that's my clock in time and my clock out time. The shift was set from 7 a.m. to 3:30. You can clock in a couple of minutes before or a couple of minutes after. And there's also a GPS feature so that you can't clock in like off-site or clock out off-site, or if you do, you need to explain it, because basically they've had people fake time clocks. The thing is, the map is a little bit wonky in that sometimes it tells you you're off-site because the GPS doesn't think you're exactly where you need to be, and so then it can still get a little bit weird. But it's really easy. Like, literally what I do is fill your schedule. There's 26 jobs available in your area. As soon as you accept the job, it appears on your calendar up here. And you click on this and you can see what jobs are available. I'm going to move myself. So you can sort those by date, time. See, you can also sort them by distance, which if you're a traveler, like for me living in a van, like it's saying it's 15 miles away, but honestly for the run of the job, I'll probably be less than 15 miles away. You can sort them by pay and duration. So there you go. Duration of the job is if it's 1 day, 2 day, 2 months, whereas time has to do with the length of the shift. So Blue Crew, again, is just, it's basically a temp agency. It is a W-2 job. All right. Wonolo. And I talked to a few people about Wonolo while I was at RTR. Again, people just want me to be permanent somewhere. This is a job I have tomorrow at the Oakland Coliseum. This is just miscellaneous advertisement. But if you go to find jobs, what's cool about Wonolo is you can look at it on a map or you can look at it on a list. Right now, they don't have any jobs available in my area. But again, you can sort by distance, by start time, or by pay. And if you go to the map, right now they're saying they don't have any jobs available in my area. But the thing about this map is you can actually look in different areas. So if I reduce this right now, okay, so right there you see that little marker, that red marker. That means there's a job in that area. So it's Vision Media Fulfillment Warehousing. So that's the advantage of the Wonolo app. Now, if you go to list, as it says, we don't have any jobs available in your area right now. That's because it's location basing you. That's a weird sentence. But like when I was in Arizona, it picked up that I was in Arizona. So unlike Blue Crew, which is only working off the address I gave them as my home address, Wonolo readjusts based on my GPS coordinates when I open the app. So like if I drove closer to where that job was, it would know that I was close to the job, and and if I open the app, it would display that as an option. But the good thing with Wonolo, unlike Blue Crew, is you can go to the map, sort of slide around a little bit, and see if there's anything you're willing to drive to. Blue Crew and Wonolo operate fairly similarly with a few differences. Wonolo, it's easier to see jobs that are out of town. Now, as far as getting them and keeping them, I have not successfully done that yet, but by hitting the map feature, you don't have to look just at what they're showing you. Wonolo's location based, but its map gives you the freedom to sort of break the rules a little bit. Whereas Blue Crew's never going to show you something outside of your area, and I haven't tried to move with it or be in another town and say, hey, I'd love to use the app, you know, what's available. It's just not built that way. Jabble's also really good for seeing stuff that's not in your area. Jabba is more of a job board than an agency. So with Jabba, you apply for jobs through the app, just like Wonolo and Blue Crew, and you get accepted via the app, and then you're going to clock in and clock out on the app. Now, the thing about Jabba is it also posts stuff like Uber. Uber, DoorDash, things like that, which aren't really, you're not really going to apply for the app to those. They're basically almost advertisements. I mean, they are jobs, but obviously we all know about Uber, but you're pretty much gonna go and apply just like you would if you went to their website. It's nothing special about applying on here. I mostly ignore those. What I like to see is stuff like this interactive entertainment group job. Like, if I didn't already have a job for the 26th through Wonolo, that's something I would do. So the good thing about this app, if you go to sort filter, like, it's just basing this on my location right now, so I can hit my location. But let's say, I don't know, I wanted to base this on a completely different zip code. I'm going to be a nerd, 90210. Let's say 90210. I wanted to look for jobs near 90210. Yes, I actually did that. Then you hit apply. Oh, I put 91210. That's like, is that even a zip code? It probably is. Well, whatever that zip code is, here we go. Ha! It actually showed up. Yeah. Okay, cool. It actually showing Los Angeles jobs. So if you go to sort filter and you change your zip code, you can look within that zip code. And you can also filter by job types. And they have a huge amount of job types here. I tend to focus on things like event staff, dishwasher, college ambassador, the kind of brand ambassador, the kind of stuff that'll only take a day or two. Like, I'm not looking for a full-time job through this app. Even though they are advertised, I'm basically looking for 1 day, 2 day, couple days, maybe a week gigs. But not like long-term things. They have jobs like videographer in here, but honestly that stuff rarely comes up, so I wouldn't depend on a app like this to get that. But things that are janitorial staff, I've done a cleaning job through this app. It was like 1 day cleaning up a festival, so I've literally picked up trash for money. It was 1 day, wasn't that big a deal. So yeah, you have all kinds of options through here, but they don't have all of these jobs all the time. But still, it's a great little job board, and it's easily adjustable to your location. And it's not as strict as either Wonolo or Blue Crew, as in nobody sort of micromanaging you based on your address. So it's not the best app of the three. It's the worst constructed, and sometimes it can be a pain to like click through and find your way around. But yeah, of the three of them, because they aren't combing the details so finely, like Blue Crew is like combing the details super fine. It's like, no, we're not going to show you a job 50 miles away. But I might be 50 miles away, Blue Crew. Whereas Jabba, like, really doesn't care what location you're calling your home address, as long as you're saying you want to come do the job. And Wonolo is somewhere in the middle. So, below that, we have my pet sitting apps. So I have Rover, Wag, and this app called Dog Walk. Dog Walk isn't really a way to get jobs. But all Dog Walk does is it allows me to, track the walk and send the owner a copy of the walk. I can even attach photos to it, and then they can track it in real time, and they can see a map of the walk after it's over. Wag. I'm going to go ahead and open Wag. I am not a big fan of Wag. I did Wag for several months as my almost exclusive supplementary income while I was working for the theater company that I resigned from this past year. And so I was doing the theater company job because that had a guaranteed amount of money coming in, and then I was doing Wag as a supplement. What I don't like about Wag is these numbers are really high. It's rarely that. That's also because it's for nighttime walks. But here we go. This is the problem. $10. $10 to walk a dog. And I know they're charging $20+ to the owner. To be giving your walker less than half of that is problematic. It looks like, I haven't opened this app in a while, but it looks like we have some some bigger numbers here. I'm kind of liking that. Maybe I need to start walking for WAG again. But the good thing about WAG is it's really freaking easy. Running your own business for pet care is really hard because you have to find the owners, and the owners have to trust you. And people kind of trust WAG's brand. So that's WAG. Like I said, it's easy. It's not a bad app. It's if you just want to spend some time with dogs and it's just fun for you and you don't care about turning a profit, definitely do it. If you just need to make some chump change on the side, definitely do it. But I would never want to make a full-time commitment out of being a WAG walker, even though there's people out there who are doing it and apparently happy. All right, Rover, I feel like is a better app for getting... That's a lie. WAG's a better app for getting connected to dogs and owners very quickly. Okay, so this is my profile on Rover. I feel like Rover is a better company than WAG overall. WAG has the better app. It has the more convenient app. It has the faster way to get you working. The hardest part about Rover is you sort of have to earn your spot on Rover. You have to treat it more like... You don't need to see me and JoJo. You have to treat it more like a business. And it's hard getting those initial reviews. I have tons and tons of reviews from 2018 to... Okay, it looks like the oldest one is 2016. But, I have plenty of great reviews, and you have to earn those over time. But once you do, like on Rover, you get to set your own prices. So usually what you do when you first start out is you look at what people are charging in the area, and you set your prices a little bit lower. And then as you build those reviews, and you've captured a couple of people who are just looking for their cheapest option, for lack of a better word, you can raise your prices because now you have the reviews to be premium. So those people who are looking to spend a little bit more for someone with guaranteed experience are willing to pay that. And you sort of have to travel the path of Rover that way. Rover started something called Rover Go. I don't know how well it worked, and I didn't really care because I was already set up on Rover enough to be kind of successful. You can decide what services you offer. Right now, I'm only offering house sitting. It says dog walking's there, but I've turned off dog walking. And then there's also boarding. So you can be a house sitter, a dog walker, and a boarder. And people find you and get to decide on you. The thing about WAG is WAG 100% controls sort of that interaction between you and the owner, and they stay in the middle. What you do on Rover once you make your profile is you're just listed. You're listed with how many stars you have and a little intro that you write for yourself. And then people get to view your profile and contact you and then set up time with you to see if they like you, which is also how you get those first ones. Even though you're cheaply priced, you're competing with all the other cheaply priced people. Now you need to meet the owner and convince them that you're good to take care of their dog. You get to decide all kinds of things about what you'll accept. So different sizes and weights of dogs. You can set a holiday rate that's higher than your regular rate. You can set an additional dog rate, extended stay rate, like all kinds of things. And sometimes I adjust these for people I like. Or if I've raised my prices and somebody says, well, last time and I can't really afford any more, you can make all those kinds of adjustments. And Rover is going to take a cut, but Rover takes less of a cut than WAG does. Like for a $20 walk or $25 walk, like most of that money is still coming to me. And like I said, you get about 50% on average the last time I worked for WAG, whereas you can get 85%, I think, with Rover. So for me, it's just been a better app. So at the bottom here, we have a bunch of delivery apps, and I have one more on the next page. We basically have Uber Driver, which I use for Uber Eats, Dasher, which is DoorDash, Amazon Flex, which is Amazon, and Fleet, which is Postmates. And don't worry about that last one. I'll talk about that later. Uber. Let's not start there. Let's start with Postmates. Postmates and DoorDash, which I'm also going to open, are a lot alike. Like, that has been my experience, that Postmates, like, DoorDash is the newer kid on the block, and it seems like they put a lot of their model around what Postmates does, with one exception. Postmates, I have not enjoyed. It's not a hard app to use. Like most of the apps, you click go online, and then you get online. You get they have all kinds of, like, if you do this, then you'll get extra money, blah, blah, blah. And then my phone is always buzzing for Blitz bonuses. But the thing is, every time I've turned on the app, like, orders have come in so slow. I spend more time sitting around than getting orders. And when I do get orders, the way to make money with this delivery is you want the restaurants and your drop-off points to be fairly close. And so you kind of got to figure out a world in which that is happening. And I've not been successful doing that with Postmates, so I've used it very little, to be honest. So this is the Dasher app. It doesn't look like the Postmates app, and I'm just opening it so you can see it open up. It doesn't look like the Postmates app at all. Like, the map looks entirely different, but the way they operate is a lot like Postmates. The difference being that Dash has zones. So if you work for DoorDash and you decide you're doing the northern part of San Francisco, you will only get orders in the northern part of San Francisco. If you decide you're doing the Berkeley, Oakland, Alameda area, yes, that's one area, you'll only get orders in this area. If you decide you're in Richmond, you'll only get orders in that area. Well, here's the thing that started to trip me up. I would get an order in Berkeley, and the drop-off point would be in Richmond, which didn't make any sense to me, because it'd be stuff like Burger King, and there's at least, 20 Burger Kings on the way from Berkeley to Richmond. So I drop off the food up in Richmond, and I can't get any new orders because I'm not in my zone. So then I have to go to Berkeley to get orders again, and then they send me, back out to Richmond. Another thing with DoorDash is, like, you signed up for a shift. So when you sign up to work for DoorDash, you say, I'm going to work, I don't know, some 3 hours that you sent, 3 to 5, which is a horrible time to work, but 3 to 5. If you, it's not as when you want to as Uber and even Postmates, in that it's controlling you in that way. So when I say DoorDash and Postmates are a lot alike, because I've just talked about things that don't apply to Postmates, what do I mean? Well, both DoorDash and Postmates are going to give you a card, because sometimes you get to the restaurant and you have to order the food. Like, it's not been pre-ordered. Like, the person has put it in, but you have to physically walk in the store, order the food, and then wait for the food. If it's during the busy part of the day, you might have to get in a line. Whereas if the food's ready, usually you can bypass the line, go straight to a side counter or side person, say, I'm here from DoorDash, Postmates, Uber Eats, whatever. They'll hand you a bag and you can go about your way and bypass the line. So what happened to me recently is I did DoorDash down in Santa Cruz, and I had 3 orders within a small area. First order, there, picked it up. Second order, there, picked it up. Third order, busy restaurant, had to stand in line and order and pay with the DoorDash card. What? And it delayed the other 2 persons' orders, and even though I have a hot cold bag, the food was definitely not quality by the time it got to them. Well, the thing is, Postmates is built the same way. Sometimes you have to actually go to the restaurant, order the food, and pay for it with a little company card they give you that has no money on it until you're in a situation where you need to order at the restaurant. I'm sure this has to do with some agreements with the restaurant, but it has just made both apps very unappealing to me. And I really almost exclusively now for delivery, just fast, quick, easy money, I do Uber. The Uber app is really easy. If I hit go, that little flashing go right there, I'm just online. And forget about zones, which is a DoorDash thing. It will just take me to the closest thing to me. Now, I haven't tried taking Uber Eats out of state, but I feel like it'll be fairly easy. When I went to Santa Cruz just to test the app a little further away from home, like it made me do a facial verification and then I was off. And it was like super easy. Like I said, the food is almost always ready when you get there. You get the food, you get back in your... And even if it's not ready, it's been ordered. So at the most, they're like, hey, we're working on it. Just hang out for a second. We'll get it to you. You don't have to get in a long line and order it. And if the place has a drive-thru, you can go through the drive-thru and say, I'm here to pick up Uber Eats for insert order number or order name. And it's really great. Figuring out their bonuses is also really, really simple. That's the last delivery. I haven't done any Uber Eats because I've been working for the catering company. And as you can see, if I drive 20 more trips, I make $30 extra. And if you hit see details, quest detail. So, and what happened is, thank you, airplane. Once you hit that 20 trips, it's like, well, you can also get an extra $45 if you do just 5 more. And if you do just 10 more, you can get an extra 60, etc., etc. Another thing I like is, see, this trips must be in San Francisco Bay Area and the surrounding area. It has been the most loose guideline of the 3, allowing me to actually get the bonuses. Like DoorDash and Postmates are very specific about their extras, especially Postmates. And when it says San Francisco, it means San Francisco, not the San Francisco Bay Area. Whereas with Uber, I could do San Francisco one day, Berkeley another day, go back down to Santa Cruz, and then go up to Richmond, and all of those orders are counting toward the same amount of trips. And this is over a week. So if over a week I was in 3 or 4 different places just because I wanted to or wanted to change the scenery, it's all still going to apply to that 30 extra, 45 extra, 60 extra, 70 extra. And it's just made this app more appealing. In addition to the fact people will come to the car to pick up their food like most of the time. Like I've had to go to a door less with Uber than I have the other apps. Like I always have to get out the car for the other apps. Whereas with Uber, like, people come to the car a lot of the times. Most of the time, the food has been ready at the restaurant. When it hasn't been ready, it's still come out pretty quickly. So, Uber Eats has made me the happiest as far as, like, ease of just turning on the app and being able to make some extra money. Amazon Flex. Ugh. So many mixed feelings about this app and working for Amazon. So with Amazon Flex, once you sign in, you're going to hit this page, and so you want to work, right? Well, it doesn't work like Uber or Postmates or DoorDash or any of those where you just turn it on and you start getting orders. Well, you can kind of do that with Available Now. And Available Now will just give you stuff like restaurants. It'll work just like Uber, actually. You just wait until something pops up that, you know, is in your area. But what people generally do with Amazon Flex is time blocks. So you click on upcoming offers. As you can see, no offers available. And then literally, this is very common. I open the app and there's nothing. Then you just hit refresh and refresh and refresh and refresh. And eventually something pops up there. But this has been the most common problem with Amazon, is that there's been a lot of nothing there. So Amazon Flex, when you can get the work, isn't too bad. Like I said, you have to babysit that refresh screen. But when the jobs do pop up, they're usually really easy. Like, at least for me. in my experience. I did meet a guy who says he feels like they're starting to overload him. So maybe there's some algorithm that sort of works it up for you. The first time I worked for Amazon Flex, the first time I actually got a shift, I went to a warehouse. Out of a 2 hour, it's about 2.5 to 3 hour shift, I don't remember, somewhere in that range. I sat in the warehouse at least an hour after arrival waiting to be assigned packages. Got assigned exactly one order, dropped that off, and they were like, there's no more orders for you today. Go ahead and leave. So it wasn't hard at all, and I banked a nice little chunk of change for one order and mostly sitting around the warehouse. However, the last time I worked for Amazon Flex, which was Amazon Fresh in Berkeley, I got to Berkeley, I signed in with my ID, and I got assigned packages like right away. And they were a bunch of addresses quite a distance away from the warehouse, whereas that first one was really close. So it is possible that the longer you do Amazon Flex, the more you're babysitting that app, the heavier the loads they start to assign to you. But I don't know. I'm just guessing based on my first experience versus my last experience. But even my last experience wasn't that bad. There was a shift where I drove out to the warehouse and literally just sat there in the parking lot waiting to be assigned packages for the entire shift and got assigned nothing. So literally I got paid to drive to their Amazon warehouse and sit in the parking lot for my entire shift. So this last thing over here, it isn't even really an app. It's just the Rhino Employee Portal, and that's just a company I get stagehand work through from.